you this, and the support that this man gave to everybody. It tells you what kind of human being he was. He had a great heart, he had a great soul, and he wanted to make a difference. And it's very rare to see people like that. Yes, he could party a little bit, get a little wild, but deep down, he was very genuine, and it didn't matter, to him where he came from. He could be from the north, he could be from the south, he could be from the west coast, the Midwest. It didn't matter. He had a good heart and get along. It was just, he welcomed you in. Reminded me a lot about one of my uncles that I have. And there was a time, where I was trying to which is Spanish for uncle. So to me, Irving became one of the friends who became that uncle that was, connected to me far away. And it was just so sad to hear the passing, but I think that right now we should celebrate his life and remember, the things and the good times that we had with him, because he is in a better place. He doesn't have to suffer anymore. He doesn't have to struggle. But I know that if he was here right now, you're right, he would want us to smile, lift our heads up, smile. And he basically tells us weekend ain't over. Go out, have a good time tonight, and enjoy. So, I'm sorry. Just want to say to Irving, you will be missed. We do love you. And I'm glad to say that you are one of the best people I have known in my life. And I love you too. Thank you.
My name is Sheila. I met Irving a little bit over 5 years ago when I started doing the outreach down at Mulberry. He came through the line. We always talked. We always laughed. We always said good things, bad things. And when he started running for the election, he said, Sheila, pray that I hope that I get it. I said, Irving, I'm praying for you, and I always will pray for you. Him and David and I did a lot of things together, and that's one of the things that I want to remember about Irving. Irving was the kind of person that he'd go out and say, hey, you want to go get a hot dog? Let's go get a hot dog. At Midway, he loved Midway hot dogs. Now, but this hat right here is one of his favorites, the black one with a feather on it. He always said that hat would never go nowhere, but he's in my heart, and he's here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I met Irving 3 years ago when I was going through, I suffered from depression. Irving was the type to like to party. Fellow New Yorker, he's New Yorker, we both had a hot day at the time. I was telling him about my dream to go back to get my GED. He was like, go for it. And so I'm celebrating, but it's really sad that he's not here. It's like I lost my best friend. I'm trying not to cry. I want to say, Irving, when you see my daddy and my grandma, tell them I love them and I miss them when I see you when I get there.
actually knowing him coming from our sister church in Atlanta. He was a part of our ministry here, and moving from Lilburn, Irving was always passionate, as everybody knows, but he's always been trying to make a difference everywhere he's been. He's had his hand in every part, but it's always, as he tries to make a difference, or tries to make a difference, it's always tension. But that never stops. That never stopped him from loving deeply and going all out for everything that he wanted. Because his passion led him to, at his detriment, do things for his health because he wanted to help. He would give all his money away because he focused on, I need to help somebody else. And his life was always that he wanted to help so much that, at times it did take away from the detriment of him. But his love, the thing that I remember, one day he went into the mayor's office in an elf uniform. And it's incidents like that, but just being out of himself and really giving that, not being afraid. The passion that we should all have. Not to worry about how people look at us or view us, because our passion is our life. It's not, how you got it, it's how you live. That people remember you. And that's the thing that all of us have to really embrace is he lived a life that made an impact for everybody that came here. Because, as everybody said, y'all came here for him. He made an impact on us. He made an impact in our church as he fought to have different things going on. But we always kept the relationship. And that's why, for us, you remember him with fond memories. Passionate, however bad as they were, but you remember. And that's what love is. Loving him that way and holding on to his memories, because he can never be forgotten. As long as y'all have memories of him, he lives on. Death it overcomes death when you have memories of a person. And that's how you'll always bring it about. The memories are so great. How bad, how great, funny, you're there. And that's how all of us remember just in the way that we do, so that we know he's always with us. Thank you.
Came home in downtown, saw these big posters of this man with a cigar, and that hat on right there. I was like, okay, what y'all doing for? That's what kind of hat there. What do you do? So I finally ran into Irving when we was doing the Peacekeepers, and I felt like that is the shortest man I've ever been. But he was still a big personality. You talk to him, you talk about New York, you talk about ministry, you talk about people, and he would always engage people on a personal level every time you talk to him. And there's been times when Irving, he's been like, oh, I just choked this man. But there's been times where, I've been out to the, I'm around because there's so many different aspects of Irving. There's been times I went down to the top dinner, and we had, I think, Roy White was performing. And Irving's like, go get some tickets. I'm like, bro, you gotta get your own, man. I gotta use my girl, man. She worked out there. And he was trying to buy my tickets. Oh, man, I'm sorry, you get these tickets. But, he's just an amazing person. And you think about the people in history that really matter. You know, it's not always the rich people, it's not always the people who have great status. It's always those colorful personalities. I think we got a play in town this week, the man from China, about Don Quixote, you know, a man who saw the world from his own unique vision. And I think of Irving in that way, not as a delusional person, but a man who dreamed a big dreamed about people, loved people. And really, as for a person who was not from Macon, he seemed to care more about Macon than a lot of people who've been here and raised there. And that was an amazing father, you know. He was never satisfied, whether it's the Sammy Davis, whether it was the mayor's race, whether it was the sergeant, any aspect of what was going on, he made sure he was involved. Whether it's moving downtown, whether he agreed with how things were going, whether it was being inclusive enough. Irving made sure he said what he had to say and made sure that he represented people who may not have been represented to the best of, you know, as they should have been. So I salute Irving, you know, I think about that costume with him with the elf costume, pictures. And I said, whenever I see that picture downtown, him with the cigar and the hat, and just, I think of a big man, you know, and I always keep that concept.
Many of you that know me because Irving brought you to me. That's how I met most of the people that I've met here even today. When I was in business, I had, in my mind, I had it all together. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew exactly what it was going to be. I had all these ideas. And then I met Irving on day one, opening the door. And he ran in, and he ran into he was running from somebody. I was going to the downtown area, and I didn't know. I was thinking, can I help you? And he just fell out on the floor. And I was just looking at him because we're artistic downtown, so I'm thinking, okay, there's somebody behind him, this is a big joke. And he's still there laying on the floor. And he jumped on me and said, "Got you this." Yeah, he kind of got it. What can I do for you? He said, not what you can do for me, it's what I can do for you. And I said, do I know you? And he's like, no. But you're going to want to know me. Because I know a lot of people, and from that moment on, if you know Irving, you remember, Irving didn't need you to talk to him. He just needed you to be quiet. He talked, and he talked, and he talked, and he talked, and he talked. So we all know that Irving is passionate. He's all passionate here. But what I love most about Irving is what I had to get to 40-ish to understand. Life is all about living between the dashes. It's not about when you're born, it's not even about when you die. It's how you live the life in between. And that's what Irving exemplified. He was passionate about a lot of things that he made. If I could tell you how many times he said, I'll never, ever, ever, this is my last day seeing you. I'm never coming downtown again. Never. Never coming downtown again. And then he come back, he said, I'm never going to do it again. Always that. Loving, always mad about something, and in the same heartbeat. He gave me $100 my first week open. And he said, I just got my check. I'm going to give you this $100 bill. And I said, well, let me give you something. He said, no. I said, we're going to pray over this $100 bill, and you're going to call it sowing a seed. He said, okay. That was on Friday. Monday, he came back and borrowed. And eventually, he said, I know I still owe you $100. But every chance he got, he came back and gave me $20 because he paid you back the $100 that he sold him. So, for me, I mean, those are the things I remember. Those are the things that make me love him, and the things that make me hate him, and the things that make me hate to love him. But I really, when I say I had a friend, and all I've been waiting for is the sun to shine, for the wind to blow, and for it to become summer again. Because I know Irving is downtown. And I can't wait for him to come down there and start just wreaking havoc, just tearing stuff up. So for me, it's gonna be really hard when that wind blows, tell myself, that's just Irving running through town again. But that's what I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss every time I see him, I just go and grab a chair. Because he's gonna tell me everything that he thought I should have heard about by now, and I have. So he is truly gonna be blessed, but again, for all of you, when that wind starts to blow, just know it's Irving. He's whispering something in your ear, something you need to know. All you gotta do, just like we're speaking with God, be quiet. And I encourage each of you to do as Irving did. Live between the dashes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess if you ever seen the morning girls, I was a quiet. Because I really didn't have anything to say. And I do, even though I did have some opinions, and sometimes they kind of even shocked Irving or even my other co-host Anthony and Ed sometimes, because, well, when you have something to say, you guys just gotta say it. But as far as Irving concerned, he didn't let that stop him. You know, he did not, which I really admire, because he didn't let his height, his health, or his accent, you know, hinder him from saying what he had to say. He said it, and that was it. And you know, whether or not you agree with him, that's up to you. I really kind of admire. He kind of reminds me of my dad, because he passed away like 5 years ago, this upcoming July, and he had something about, it's kind of ironic that I met him I actually remember the day too. Well, the first time I saw him was October 30th, 2010, which was actually the last weekend that I was working at the TV station before I was let go. And it's quite ironic that about 2 years, less than 2 years later, we were actually working together, as co-hosts for the Morning Roast together. And even before then, he was one of our guests on the Art Block of Andy Derrick earlier that year. But you really, once you get to know that person, you really have to admire his integrity, his inner strength. And it was kind of like, it was even ironic that even though his dad was a boxer, he really didn't like sports for some reason. But he did have that, but he was definitely a living, breathing example of that saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight, the size of the fight. It's not in the negative sense, but it's really, he had true courage. He didn't care what it was. It could be 10 Goliaths, but he was that one big David. He had that one big slingshot and big rock to knock you in the head if you have something to say, especially if you're doing some runs that look at. And he was the heartbeat of the Morning Roast, and it's not going to be the same with him. Not the same the show, but maybe it's not going to be the same with him. And what to piggyback what Mr. Dickens said, it's really truly really incredible when someone who's from New York or any other part of any other country who transplants himself and makes it and has a huge passionate love for this city, you know, especially someone who wasn't born here. That's very evident. And, I mean, I really don't know anything else to say, but I'll just, it's kind of funny that, you know, it is also the weekend of sports, which would be on tonight, and also he loves movies. You probably love movies probably a lot more than you love sports, because you were talking last time I was talking, we were talking about the Olympics and stuff, and you don't have that sportsmanship quality, which I think he got from his dad, even though he probably didn't like sports as much. But I'll just close with this before I choke up. It's from 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. And I have kept the faith. Thank you very much.
I just want to share a couple of my moments with Irving. Some of you from Macon may have had occasion to meet my sister Brooks Stanford, who is quite big kind of with the arts here. She has a creative alternative on Ridge. And the night I met Irving, it's kind of interesting. I'd gone down to the Arts Alliance, and it was the first Friday gallery opening. And I was standing admiring the art, kind of minding my own business, and my sister came over. Backtrack. I grew up in Macon, moved away from here, and lived away from Macon for 28 years, 23 years, which was in New York. And my sister came over and said, "You've got to talk to this guy. He's from Brooklyn." And I told him, I said, my brother just, recently returned from living in New York, and he can talk to you more about, whatever. He might be able to have some things to talk about. So here comes Irving. He's just like a live wire. And I think in a way, she was trying to, walk away from him because he was on full throttle, and he was like, "Oh, we're from Manhattan, blah, 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 Manhattan, all this thing." And so we were talking, and for the rest of the day, rest of the time I was there, he was just like right beside me talking the whole time. I said, "Well, how did you end up in Macon, from Brooklyn?" He says, "I just got here this afternoon." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Well," he said, "I was walking around downtown and I saw this thing going on, so I came in." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of incredible." He says, "This is where I'm going to live." And I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Why here?" He says, "I love this place. I love the town. I see the around, and I can't believe how beautiful this town is. And now this art opening, he says, everybody I meet is happy and nice to me." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Well, your sister's been nice. And she actually talked to me for a while. Everybody else says hello and kind of smiles." I said, "Well, yeah, I can understand that." So then we went down to Roasted. I said, "Well, there's another exhibit down at my friend's coffee shop, Roasted, which he came down and spent the rest of the evening with myself, and later I hooked up with my sister again, and we were just kind of hanging around, talking. Irving talking about Brooklyn, wanting to know everything I did when I was in New York and everything. But as everyone by now knows, he didn't have much of a filter when it came to being however he wanted to be in any given moment about something, And I really appreciated that, because I lived in New York for 23 years, and so I really grew to appreciate the way that people there are just, as David said, pretty blunt in your face. They don't hold back, and they don't put up fake kind of personalities and facades to, and they don't do this sort of bless your little heart, meaning, why don't you just leave me and die or something, like the people do here. So I really appreciated that aspect of it. about 2 weeks after that, I'd given him my number. He called me. He says, "I really need to talk to you." And I said, "Oh, okay." He says, "I really want to get together." And so I said, "Okay, all right." So I came down and I met him, and we sat in my car. At that time, he was living right behind Joshua Cup, I guess it was, and he said, "I just can't." He says, "I love this place and I want to fit in, and I get a lot of resistance when I talk to people, and I'm really not sure what I'm doing wrong." I said, "Well, my sister Brooks had often talked about how when she taught school for many years in the public system here, when new teachers would come in and be very disoriented about being here and not really quite understand how things work around here, and they'd like to try to get something done, and just we're blocked at every turn, or anybody that's got a fresh idea tends to be. She said, "Well, let me act as your interpreter. You know, I can translate Macon for you. You know, when you meet someone and they tell you one thing, come to me, tell me what they said, and I can translate it into what it really means." And so that's what I told Irving. I said, I can do this for you because I live in New York and I see what you're doing. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I love the fact that you're out there with it and you're trying to do something. But you got to understand, sometimes it pays to kind of just dial it back and not come on quite so strong. You know, I know that's what you're used to, and I really appreciate that about you. I love that about you. But you might want to just think about dialing it back a little bit. Try sometimes, just when you're in a social environment, making kind of just going off to the corner and just look at everybody real hard in the room. See what they're doing. Listen to what they're saying. Don't say anything. Just observe. Observe and observe and observe. And formulate to what you're hearing in a way that doesn't terrify them. Because right now, you're not quite there yet. You know, so I regret to say that I didn't see him again for a long time after that because, well, I was doing other things, caregiving for parents for one thing, and I wasn't making it downtown like I used to. So I didn't run into him very much. But occasionally I'd be downtown. I had a little combo of music that I would play in the roast. Me and my partner would come down there. Irving, just champion of anything creative or artistic, no matter what it is, was there every time, just cheering me on, just talking about what are you going to do with this, and so I would run into him in occasions like that. But the thing that really stood out was the next time I really thought about Irving, and comes across the news that he's running for political office, and it's been about maybe 2 years since I'd had that conversation with him. I was like, man, this guy, he works quick. And so after that, I would see him occasionally. I was like, wow, I don't waste any time. What are you going to run for mayor next? He said, well, I'm thinking about it. My friend David is, And so I'm like, well, go for it, That's great. But primarily, I just wanted to share the fact that I met him when he was fresh. He hadn't talked to 5 people in this town when I saw him, and it was really kind of amazing to see him restrain himself and get into a groove where he could actually function to the level that he did among this community, which, living away from here for 28 years and coming back, I still see the levels of repression that just constantly go on here on all fronts. It's not just, you can't just say it's one thing or another. It's just period. And it's a challenge. If you're a creative person, or if you have an idea in your head how things can be made better around here, what you have to go up against. And Irving is the sort of guy that he would say, don't let that stop you. Drive on through, and that's what he was doing. And it was just always kind of a terrifying joy to see it, because you never really knew what was going to happen. I find that exciting, and I wish I had more friends like that here in this town, instead of everybody being so predictable all the time, knowing what they're going to say before they say it, and all of this. I find it exciting, and I'm going to miss her very much. because he was such a fan of my music, I have a song that I haven't really performed at all, but I'd like to sing it for him now, if you don't mind. It's, if I can get a voice together here. It's called God Did a Good Thing. It goes like this. God did a good thing the day that He created you. You're a steady white light on the road, almost the blue ones reaching out. With gentle hands, He plucked a star out of the sky. Now it shines from your heart with a love so very fine. Once my only companions were indigence and strife. No matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find my true life. Then you stood there before me as if in some fever dream, and I suddenly knew there was no need to be so mean. No, life doesn't need so much suffering and pain. Brush that chip off your shoulder and start a new game for yourself and all those that you care the most about. Wonder how you put yourself on such a old route. Oh, your radiant smile can melt a solid block of ice. The meanest cold-hearted rounder just don't stand a chance. When your laugh hits their ear, they fall into some state of grace. They fall helpless and baffled, stupid grin on their face. How on earth can one person transmit so much joy? So miraculous to me, I feel like some little boy who has never felt pain or the tiniest, slightest tiny doubt. When it's just you and me all alone stepping out. Well, they say the day will come when we're old and gray. We'll remember these times as sweet rolls in the hay. But till then, I think I know on the day my life is true. God did a good thing the day that He created you. Thank you.
My name is Ed. I met Irving about 5 or 6 years ago through what I ran karaoke shows in Macon. And Irving was the kind of guy that if when you first met him, you made friends with him. That's just the way he was. He spoke hearty, but he had the heart of a pussycat. He stood up for his word. He stood up for people that couldn't stand up for themselves.
Exactly.
Funny story, we had gone to the power station. Irving left me there. Called the next morning. I had to walk all the way home. He said, "Well, did you get some good exercise?" I said, "You?" Well, that night we met over the back porch for karaoke. I lived with him for a little over a year, up until a couple weeks ago, and we became like brothers. In the interim of knowing Irving, Allison, and David, I think of David as a brother of mine too. We became very, very close. Irv was the nucleus behind the morning roast. He had that bubbly, bubbly attitude. You couldn't argue with Irv. Irv was always right. Sometimes he flipped back the other way, but he had a big heart, and we argued like brothers. We lived together, and we fought, and we always had a peace offering. We'd knock on each other's door, we hold a cigarette. We never held a grudge. I'm going to miss her. I know he's left an impression on all of us here. There will never be another Irving Martinez that I don't think I will ever see again. Irving, I really miss you, and I'll see you in heaven.
April 2008, and he was one of the first people that I met downtown. And he always told me, every time I encountered him, he always told me how much he loved my parents, and he would always ask me about my parents and how they're doing. He would actually give me questions to answer before, I couldn't talk much anymore after he got started, but it's amazing all the stories that all of you listened to today. I mean, it just really goes to show how much bigger work again. And we're all going to miss him, and I'm so happy that he made such a positive impact. I know that there was negatives, but there was so much more positive on top of negative. And I know, I wish that we all could have said this to him before he passed, but thank all of you for just presenting all of your awesome stories about him. I actually had the opportunity to take him home one evening, and I don't think we had ever had such an intimate conversation before, and it took probably 45 minutes for him to actually go through the door. We sat in the driveway, and there was just this whole new side to him that I hadn't gotten to appreciate until that moment. And as others said, there was that side of him that not very many people knew about, and I feel lucky to have been considered enough of a friend for him to really open up like that. I know a lot of you, he opened up to you too, which makes us very lucky, but I'm just gonna miss him.
My name is Lisa. Can everybody say that back to me? My name is Lisa. The reason I say that is I'm married to a man who is almost as flamboyant as Irving. I am Marty Willett twice. If you know who Marty Willett is, he's from Fort Hawkins. He was Sidney Lanier. He opened Gerald. I mean, the stories can go on.